younger. He's about the same age as his cousins, the Uso twins.
Which you don't see very much of as of lately.
It's because I can't remember. Jay, I think it is, suffered a shoulder injury, and so he's been
out, so I got it fixed.
Anyways, but going back to this matchup, it was I think it was an entertaining matchup. You keep going on about Rowan, and honestly, I always felt that Rowan was the weak link in the Wyatt family. I'm glad he's gone in many ways.
The way I look at it, like I told you, if you look at Eric Rowan, he is tall. He's got the muggy look to what you want for a serial killer. And when you put a mask on anybody, and I've always said this, the bigger you wear a mask, I don't care who you are, you're going to be the scariest guy that you could ever see, and will make you drop your pants.
There's other ways to drop your pants. And
I'm trying to be nice with not saying the other words to, trying to...
But here's
drop your pants is a better way.
Your comments right there are exactly why you're coming back for our Halloween special.
No, he's not. He's going to be our mascot.
But that's the one thing I like about Eric Rowan.
Diaper and spandex.
He wasn't as big as... he's not as big as the Luke Harper.
Oh.
Okay, he's not as big as Harper, but for his height and size that he was, or is, he wore a lampshade mask, and everybody knows that anybody who wears a mask and they're silent, they're the most deadliest.
That is true. Silence is always deadly.
And that's why I like
And he always had a few words to say, only like every time.
But you know what? The fewer the words made him better than anybody else. Because what did Harper do? He didn't say a whole lot either. But his eyes got everybody's attention because they bulged out and freaked people out, and that's exactly what Eric Rowan did.
And that's why we don't like you.
But here's the thing. I mean, Wyatt and Harper are really great wrestlers. Harper does stuff in the ring that a guy who's 6'8" should not be able to do.
No, and I agree with that.
And so it's, no matter what you might say, Rowan was definitely the weak link in this team. I'm actually kind of surprised because I actually thought that they were going to find some way to bring Rowan back, or maybe Bray Wyatt's younger brother, Bo Dallas, even, to come in to kind of help them prolong this feud.
If you're trying to make yourself, your group, be freaky and scary, the one guy you need is that silent guy who wears a mask, and nothing's more scary than watching the guy come out wearing overalls with a Chiefs mask over his head.
Is this why you have the most restraining orders?
But anyways,
this is why I'm allowed in hell, because they keep throwing me out.
But anyways, to kind of finish up my point, Roman, Bray Wyatt ends up getting pinned, so it seems that pretty obvious that this feud is now done. Roman Reigns is now going to move on to whoever else is going to get thrown his way, so he doesn't get a shot at Seth Rollins. I'm almost going to guarantee you this: the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion will be Roman Reigns. Will it happen before WrestleMania? I'm not sure, but I almost can guarantee you it will happen.
Tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow on Raw. Stay tuned. We got 3 hours of Raw, and there will be a match tomorrow.
So anyways, we are going to move on to the next one, because our show's quickly going into danger zone.
Well, this is what happens when we bring this guy in.
Yes,
I'm going to apologize to Big Mike. We do try to give you a chance to commentate during this stuff. It's a little harder when we have one more loudmouth, on the panel.
Yeah, but like Roddy's always said, and this goes to Roddy Piper, when you thought you had all the answers, I've got more questions.
Okay, so John Cena versus Seth Rollins.
This was a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, it was
brutal.
And
I thought the match could have been done better, though.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I thought Seth Rollins was really good in this matchup. John Cena, I don't know. This was definitely not one of John Cena's better matches. And I don't think that's Seth Rollins' fault.
No.
I just think that John Cena had kind of an off night on this one. But, I thought it was great.
See, the reason I didn't like it because I already knew it was going to happen, and I already said that John Cena was going to lose, so...
Well, I mean...
When you know something like that, you just don't pay attention to it anyway.
Well, it's not like wrestling is fixed at all.
But, I mean...
Whoever said that?
Yeah. It's definitely real.
But you know what? It all goes back to John Cena's comments about how he was going to kind of, make Seth Rollins and Triple H regret, everything that has happened by saying, hey, I'm going to win the 16th world title, which would, tie him with Ric Flair, who is the mentor of Triple H, who, you know, is the mentor to Seth Rollins. And so by saying I'm going to beat Seth Rollins and become a 16-time world champion, you knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it was a great matchup. I don't know. I don't really like the fact that Seth Rollins is continuing to use the pedigree, considering that this guy's got some, you know, great offensive moves that he can use. This guy does, you know, a version of the 450 splash called the Phoenix Splash, which is absolutely breathtaking to watch, and I think is a much superior move that for him to be using than the pedigree. He seems too small to be using the pedigree as a finisher, just in my opinion.
Yeah, that's like taking a German Shepherd and trying to mate it with a poodle. Doesn't work.
I told you earlier, we're not talking about puddles. So, Mike, any last comments before we move on to the next one?
It was a very good match. I was kind of shocked to see Seth Rollins coming out in white instead of his usual black.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I'm not quite sure why he went off and did that.
That's not the first time I've ever seen him wear white, though. I've seen him wear it before.
Not very often.
He's kind of stayed with the black because, I mean, it's very similar.
Because he was black when it was with the Shield, and then after when he split up with the Shield, he was.
He's even come out on live Raw shows wearing black and green stripes or yellow.
Yeah, it's been serious. All I have to say is thank you, Jon Stewart, for making sure that John Cena did not win the match.
That was a drawn-out, lame aspect of
If you're going to hit John Cena with a chair, next time use a rubber hose.
Here, I think we will find out that Jon Stewart went off and did this because he, you know, for the same reason that we were against it because he didn't want to see John Cena, you know, tie Ric Flair's record.
No, somebody bribed him. Anyway, so the next one, I don't have a whole lot of notes on because I was too busy watching the women in bikinis dance around the arena. So Paige's team wins
in that elimination tag match. You know what? It was kind of a distracting time too because I was spending some time with my son,
and I was watching bikinis.
But you know, we look at
it was getting away too much.
You know what? Shut up! My goodness,
we just went downhill.
We went downhill. It's kind of embarrassing because considering how elevated, you know, the Divas division has come in recent months, thanks to the additions of Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks. And although, I mean, we sort of talked about this a little bit earlier, you know, it's elevated, you know, the games of everyone else.
But tonight was not that case.
And again, it's because when you get that many people in a matchup, it's ultimately going to take away from the match.
Yeah, they've gone the wrong direction with these women tag team titles. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, there's a reason why it's called Deal or No Deal with cases, right?
That's true. Okay, so we got 2 matches left. I know we're going to be spending a lot of time with the very last one, unfortunately. So we're going to be going past the 45-minute mark.
Well, we'll see, you know.
Whatever. So Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. Cesaro.
Here's another matchup. It was a great matchup. Cesaro was able to go off and showcase just how good he is. It puzzles me why WWE isn't pushing them better. Considering, Vince McMahon has went on record to say that he doesn't feel like Cesaro's got much charisma, but honestly, he showed buckets full of charisma tonight. You know, and honestly, I mean, anytime you put Cesaro in the matchup, it doesn't matter how strong of an opponent or how weak an opponent it is, it's going to be a good matchup. And when you put him across the ring against a guy like Kevin Owens, who, despite how he might appear, is a phenomenal, you know, professional wrestler.
He's been a huge addition to the WWE. I don't know if any of our special guests have anything else to put in.
I don't like Kevin Owens. First time I ever saw him on Raw, I didn't like what he offered. I don't care for his mic skills. I don't care for his lack of wrestling ability. Cesaro has talent. He has talent, but they're wasting his talent, and that's what's ticking me off.
I agree.
Mike?
I would probably have to agree with.
I mean, it was
there.
It was a good matchup. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot to talk about on here. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised Cesaro didn't go over in this matchup, especially since Kevin Owens was like 24 hours removed from a phenomenal ladder matchup against NXT champion Finn Balor.
But that's where charisma comes in, right? You want to be a professional wrestler? You want to sit there and take? You want to have back-to-back matches and back-to-back nights? Well, this is where it proves where you're a man or a wuss.
Yeah. So
And yeah, he showed it. But anyways, yeah, we need to move
very
on to the
last
main
match
event.
is Undertaker versus the Beast, Brock Lesnar. I don't care what people say. Undertaker won.
Yes.
And I mean, we'll kind of showcase this a little, and talk about this kind of momentarily. What did you guys think of the matchup itself? And let's not talk about the finish right away.
Honestly, phenomenal. The amount of
It's not as big as what the hype would have given it.
no, but the energy was huge when you look at the Undertaker of his ability as of lately, and after WrestleMania and the way it kind of ended and the way he ended, I honestly wasn't expecting to see the Undertaker back in that capacity anytime soon. We saw him back to that capacity tonight and then some.
And just for the record, the reason why the bell rang earlier is because the guy sneezed and his hand went down. Sorry, so therefore that's what.
Okay,
It was a premature bell ring.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of guys can appreciate that.
He went back to his days when he was 12 years old. A lot of
But if you don't understand what we mean, at the very end of the matchup, Brock Lesnar had the Undertaker in the Kimura. Referee was counting Brock Lesnar's shoulders down.
Nothing happened there, nothing to see. Let's just move on.
And the timekeeper went off and thought he saw something and rang the bell prematurely.
I told you he sneezed.
The replay was doctored to show something that did not happen.
According to the playback, Undertaker tapped behind the referee's back.
He was trying to get a hold on. It looked like
He
a
was
tap.
trying to grab his nut to squeeze it so that Brock Lesnar would let go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all he was trying to do, but his hand kept slipping. That's why he kept.
Anyways,
he couldn't find Lesnar's nuts.
The ringing of the bell went off and caused Brock Lesnar to release the move. While the referee was arguing with the timekeeper, Undertaker went off and took advantage of the situation.
Nut shot.
Yes,
He
and
found
put
the
on
nuts.
his
He
version
was trying to put
of.
it back in place. That's all he was trying to do.
Hey, he was trying to help Lesnar find the nuts that he lost with all the steroids he takes.
And so he put on his submission finisher, Hell's Gate, which is a version of the mixed martial arts submission move, the Gongola, I think it's called.
And then Brock Lesnar did the classic Captain Fizz move and gave him the finger.
And then passed out.
I don't usually pass out.
And so, despite how there might be, some controversy to some people,
Screw the controversy, Undertaker wins.
But
Undertaker won the match.
Someone should let
Undertaker
timekeeper
won.
make sure he's not a 12-year-old little boy sitting there watching all the
And
dudes walk around.
but regardless of whether Undertaker tapped or not, the referee's decision is final. Referee did not see it, so therefore it did not happen.
Thank you, referee.
Do you agree or disagree? Should a timekeeper be checked to see if there's a 12-year-old kid on steroids
Honestly,
watching Peter Jack and watching David walk around the ring?
Here's the really weird thing about this, because the timekeeper is supposed to wait until he is signaled by the referee
And
to
that's
ring
why
the
I said
bell.
he should be
Are
checked.
you sure it wasn't Jon Stewart behind the bell?
It was some little clown that was behind that.
What are you doing behind the bell?
They need to find that guy and find out if he's a 12-year-old kid trying to dress up as a man, watching demons dance around the ring, and start bringing bells, a little pre-ejaculation here.
Isn't that what you did yesterday?
No, according to my wife, I did really well.
Anyways, we need to wrap this up
We
now.
really do. This has definitely been one of the
Most degrading episodes
well,
ever.
you know what? Honestly,
Yeah.
I think I
was,
livened it up
and-
pretty well.
I did enjoy the Undertaker Brock Lesnar matchup. The one funny part I thought was funny was when I don't know what happened. It was either Taker covered Lesnar or Lesnar covered Taker, and the other one kicked out.
and then
Lesnar popped up, looked at the Undertaker, and started laughing.
Undertaker then sat up and started doing a mock laugh right back at him, which was classic.
That was
And anybody knows who knows Big Mike, when you sit there and laugh at something funny, he'll kind of give you the same kind of look and sit at the mock laugh too.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I said when I saw that. I said, "Oh, there's a whole new Mike."
It was a classic part of the match. But anyways, I have to thank Big Mike and Sweet Double D.
You're welcome.
That's the same with me, by the way.
No, Sweet Daddy D, Double D.
So,
Double
anyways,
D.
unfortunately, we really need to wrap this up quickly. If we'd like to again thank Sweet Daddy D and Big Mike for coming on. if you want to...
Thank you for having me on the show. I much appreciate it. I'm very privileged.
Actually, I guess, considering we're going to go over the 45-minute mark,
Don't care.
anyways, we might as well